Welcome to Wayward Writers. I'm senior literary agent and author Heather Cashman.
I'm author and writing coach Stephanie Beers.
And I'm author and writing coach Nikki Jacobsmeyer.
Our mission is to nurture and enrich established writers throughout their publishing journeys.
We welcome all genres, age groups, and publishing paths through video podcasts, online webinars, in-person retreats, and more.
We're here to help you conquer your path.
Today, we're excited to have Emily Ritter with us, who is a digital marketing expert. We are going to learn all about how to be better marketers. So, Stephanie, will you tell us all about Emily?
I'll be happy to. Emily has over a decade of marketing experience working in-house at Simon & Schuster and Bloomsbury Children's Books. Most recently, she was the Director of Brand Development for Sarah J. Maas, and previously the Assistant Director of Digital Marketing for Teen Books at Simon & Schuster, leading the Simon Teen brand. An expert at developing and executing social media and digital marketing campaigns, Emily started Emily Ritter Digital Marketing to bring her knowledge directly to others. And Emily, we are excited to talk to you about this today because this is something I definitely need to learn about. I'm excited.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Yeah, we're so grateful to have you on. So this is the thing of we don't know what we don't know. And I think we try really hard, at least I know I do on social media, and it just doesn't always land. What do you think some of the biggest misconceptions authors have about social media promotion?
Ooh, that's a great question. I think the biggest misconception is there's only one right way to promote on social, and that's just not true. There's a different way for everybody. So I always encourage you to be yourself in your online promotion. People are coming to you, they're following you because they want you. They don't want some sort of social media or promotional robot. And so obviously there are better ways to do it, right? Smarter ways to promote online, but there's not just like one right way. And if you do anything else, you're doing it wrong. And I think too, it's okay to experiment online. It's okay to try things, see what works for you, see what resonates with your audience, and then build from there. So that's the other thing. You don't have to be perfect right away. You can jump in, see what works, and then do more of that and learn as you go.
That's comforting.
Yeah, I hope so. Social media can be very hard to quantify. Even as an expert, it can be really hard to see what's efficient. But I think it's important to always look at what you're posting with a little bit of an analytical mindset. Taking a look and being like, did this post get a lot of comments? Did it get a lot of engagement? Okay, yes, it's working. Like, people are coming to it. Or am I just shouting into a void? Like, maybe I need to be a little more interactive, right? Put some calls to action on there, try and get some interaction to build that. And I think too, there's a misconception that like, oh, if you get popular on social media, you'll just like magically sell a lot of books. And again, there's not always a very clear through line. Even if you go like magically viral, it's not always going to be like, oh, and then she sold 1,000 books. Sometimes it works and you can really see like how you're impacting it, but sometimes social is more of just an awareness driver. And the more awareness you can drive, then the more book sales you can drive, but it's not always like a one-to-one comparison. So it's more about keeping an eye on things, seeing, are people reacting? Are they engaging? And then doing more of that.
That sounds like good advice.
It does. So how do authors identify where their particular audience is on the social medias? Where are they active? Where should you as the author connect with them?
Yes. So you have to think about who your intended audience is and then where you might find those people online, which seems really obvious, but let me like break it down a little bit. For example.
No, it's not really obvious.
Okay.
I need to know this.
Not to me either.
It is not. It is not. So please break it down bit by bit.
Okay. So let's give some examples. So say you're a picture book author. Ultimately, you're not selling books to little kids, right? They don't have purchasing power.
Right.
So you're selling books to the parents, the teachers, the librarians. So you got to think, where are those people online? And a lot of those people might be on Facebook or Instagram. Think about the moms in your life and where they're chatting online. So that's where you want to be interacting with them online. And then for a middle grade, that's a little trickier. You have to think like, where are, again, it's those gatekeepers, where are they? And then for YA, you get a little more into direct to consumer. And that's where there's more people maybe on TikTok, Instagram. And then if you want to go a little broader, you can also think, oh, okay, a lot of teachers are on Pinterest, or a lot of librarians are using Blue Sky now. And just who is my audience and where do I see those people talking and interacting? And that's where you want to be on social, where they're already having conversations.
So I guess one question is, a lot of our audience is self-published authors. We have both self-published and traditional. We're like a huge mix of people. So do you think that those audiences you were just talking about, are they different for self-pub than they are for traditional? And so would there be different platforms that work better for traditional versus self-pub?
I think your audiences are probably going to be in the same places, but for self-pub authors, they can't rely on a lot of that like bookstore natural traffic. So I think they have to work a little harder at self-promotion online. And I think
Right.
a key that I'm really exploring these days is that not only do you want to create these communities online, but if you can create communities in like newsletters or web, want to create these communities online, if you can create that, I highly recommend it. And that's where I see a lot of success with self-published authors having really successful newsletters where they keep people updated. And I've seen also a lot have Facebook groups where they have regular
Interesting.
communication with their followers.
Mhm.
Just because there's a lot going on social media. So the more you can cut through that noise and find the people who really want to hear from you and then build that community, that's the way you can build your following.
That makes a lot of sense.
Sometimes it depends on the whims of the algorithms. So you've probably
Yeah.
seen that video is being pushed a lot lately, especially with the rise of TikTok and then across Instagram and Facebook and all the meta platforms as they try and keep up. Video is very popular. So that's really great. I find video can be good for discoverability. So, for finding new fans, video can be a really fun and unique way to try and draw people into your books. But I think there's still a lot to be said about the power of static graphics or imagery that's really eye catching or informative. So, lots of like infographics are ways that people can really easily be like, what is this book about? And also, people can save that or share that so they can come back to it. Because how often have you scrolled by something and been like, that's interesting, and then you move on? But think about having something that someone can screenshot and save and come back to later when there's like a sale on Amazon or
Mhm.
on BNN, or you can be like, oh, I wanted to get that book.
Smart.
Yeah, I like that. So when you're posting, how, and I'm terrible at this, so this is the perfect question
I'm
for
terrible at
you to
all social
answer.
medias.
I'm terrible at this, but I'm really terrible about being consistent. So how important is consistency? Because sometimes I just don't have anything to say and I'm not that interesting. So nobody wants to know what I ate for breakfast. Nobody. Tell us what to do for those of us who are completely inconsistent at this.
Yes. Okay. I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but consistency and frequency are very important.
I know.
I know.
It's
Okay, but
very,
here's
very
what you're
sad.
gonna do.
Yeah. Yeah, like once a year. Is
Yeah.
that good enough?
So I think you find that the schedule that works for you.
Once a year.
Yeah, maybe it's once a month. maybe it's every other week. But here's the thing that's going to make it easier. And here's the thing, I can say this all day and it's hard. I promise you it's hard. But you can do it. Okay, so the trick is plan it in advance.
Okay.
So if you think, okay, start of every month, I'm going to think of 3, 4, 7, however many you want, posts that I'm going to do, even if it's 2, posts that I can do this month. And then maybe it's, okay, every Tuesday, I'm going to do one of those. And you can think about
Okay.
like moments, look up fun holidays that might be like fun ways to promote, or if there are any like milestones or like things you can celebrate, moments around your book, things you can like tease or share, anything that you can make into a moment. I'm all about it. And then plan out those things so at least you have some content planned out. And then if you feel inspired and you see a fun trend, or, oh, it's the Oscars, I want to find a way to tie my book to the Oscars or whatever, that gives you some fun wiggle room. But the key is planning.
Okay.
And like, then
I'm
you,
good at that in other areas, but
I
I'm
know,
really bad at it in social media.
I
So,
know,
okay.
right? And here's the
That's
thing,
good.
I
Good
tell my
advice.
authors this all the time, right? I'm like, just plan it out. And then I run social accounts for various organizations I'm in. And do I plan? Would it be so much easier? Do I follow my own rules? I get it. Yeah, there's no hard and fast rule. I find that it's easier if you do it the same time during the same week, just so it's, oh, yeah. People get used to it and be like, oh, yeah. Like Susan posts every day at 4, or like every Thursday at 4. Ah, yeah, there's our weekly check in. Authors easily get overwhelmed because it just hangs over them. And I promise you, even my authors who are like so good at social media, they do it too. They're, Emily, I know I promised you this TikTok 2 weeks ago. It's been hanging over my head every day. So don't worry, it happens to all of us. But I think that helps with the consistency too. If you're like, okay, every week, Tuesday at 4 p.m., I'm going to post. And even if it's just, I've got a photo, or I'm going to remind you about my book, or tell you what's going on in my writing life, just a wellness check, as you were.
And along with that, how do you balance like not just being promoting all the book all the time and actually
Right.
engaging with people? Because
Like
I
being real.
yeah,
Yes.
being real with people. And I, like I said, they don't want to know what my breakfast is. So how do I engage without boring them to death?
Yeah.
No, you don't. Because this morning it was hot tea and 4 chocolate coffee beans. So no, you don't. It's a bad day
It seems to work, Stephanie, but
Yeah.
you look great.
today.
Maybe
But
that's
anyway, so how do you balance that? I really struggle with that.
Yes. I think that's another common misconception, that authors are like only on social to promote themselves and every post has to be like, buy my book.
Ah,
And nobody wants that, right? Least of all the
Right.
author. But I say that you can find creative ways to say, buy my book, and you can find creative ways to show that you're an author. There are different ways to say, buy my book. It can be like, oh, look at my book in the bookstore. Just a reminder, it's available. Or, I just turned in my book. I'm so excited. You can pre order it now. Those two things don't usually happen at the same time. But
yeah.
same for keeping it real. People love a sort of peek behind the curtain. If you take a photo of your messy writing space one day and that's your post, to be like, this is what it looks like. Here's where the magic happens.
Okay.
Or you're taking a walk and you said, I just had a really great idea for the sequel to the book, and kind of tease it that way.
Okay.
There are like creative ways to bring in your real life to the promotion without feeling really salesy. And then I think you're right. The other piece of it is you can be a real person and you can engage with others. And that kind of takes it to the next level, right? So it's not just you shouting, look at me, but it's you
Yeah.
supporting other authors and commenting on fans, or commenting on, engaging in topics that inspire you. So you show that you're a real person. And you don't have to force it, right? You don't have to like make it happen, but hopefully you're interested in those things, so you want to engage in those ways.
I think that kind of answered my question, which is how to engage with readers without feeling overwhelmed. And I think
Yeah.
the reality is just keep it real.
Yes.
Like actually be real with people and treat them like real people too.
Yes. And don't feel like you have to comment on every single post that's ever tagged you. I had an author ask me recently, hey, I get tagged in a lot of like, bookshelf shots where it's like my book and 20 other authors and I'm tagged. Do I need to comment on that? And I was like, no.
Yeah.
If you really like their bookshelf and you want to compliment them, sure. But don't feel like you have to do that. If someone is, oh, I love these fantasy authors, you can say, oh, me too. I think you're right. Be
Right.
authentic, be real. And you can do that in a real way. The number one question I get, what's trending? How do I keep up with what's trending? And there's no like secret sauce. I just started a newsletter to try and like showcase what's trending each week, but it's really hard to stay on top of things. I think you have to be online and look at the conversations to know what's going on. But you can also, you don't have to be like chronically online and know what every meme is. You can also just see like, I saw an author recently did the trend where she paired Oscar dresses with book covers. And that's a kind of thing where it's, oh, here's a thing that really interests me, the Oscars, and here's a way to tie it to my books. So that's like a way to find things that are trending that's like a little more natural. And then my other tip is you don't need to just watch other authors and be like, how do I take what they're doing? But you can be like, what are brands I follow or other people I follow doing? And how can I do that in fun ways? So I don't know if this is like a little too in the weeds with strategy, but that's how I get creative inspiration, right? I'm always looking around and seeing what are other people doing and how is a creative way that I can be inspired by that. I'm sorry, it's really hard. I'm sorry I don't have an easy solution for you. You just kind of have to keep your eyes open and be ready to be inspired and think about what things interest you and is there a way you can relate that back to your books.
I think it's smart.
I think that's really interesting. And I was just looking for trends. So then how much do we actually worry about the algorithms and all of those things? Because those are I can watch and kind of look for trends and different things, but I know nothing about what's going on behind the scenes to stay visible or anything. How do I figure that out?
Yeah, I feel like trends are really more about trying to widen your audience and find other people. I think maybe it's a smarter strategy to keep your current audience engaged and
Mm.
find ways for them to support you. So you don't want to spend like all your time being like, oh, let me go make a video with this trending sound. If it's not really in your wheelhouse, I'd rather you make
Mhm.
a graphic that's, hey, here are my books coming out this year, or here are 3 ways you can support me, or here are 3 fun facts about me as an author. And just be like supportive and informative and helpful.
You're trying to engage with the audience that you have and then expanding. But I was also just wondering, like the algorithms
Yes.
and how does that play into the
Or
this
should
whole
we
mess?
care? Should we care about
Should
algorithms?
we
Should we
just not
just
even care about them? Do they matter?
Yeah. The algorithms are tricky because social media these days is really focused on discoverability. And as authors, we're always trying to cultivate community. And sometimes those two things
Uh,
can be at odds,
yeah, that makes
right?
sense.
And so if you spend so much
Mhm.
time chasing the algorithm and trying to find new people, sometimes you lose your community. But at the same time, the way these algorithms work is they want you to chase them. So my
Yeah.
biggest thing is instead of trying to chase trends, you want to focus on just creating really good content for you.
okay?
And that's a better strategy than trying to like keep up with all the latest things. But at the same
That's
time,
wise.
yeah, so really focusing on you. And something I tell all authors is don't spend too much time comparing yourself to others. Don't see other people's social media strategy and be like, oh, I have to do that. But think
Right.
about your audience. What do they need from you? What would be helpful to them? And they want information, and they want like easy reminders and maybe behind the scenes stuff. And think about ways that you can give that to your audience. And I think that's a better strategy to approach like how to find the right content that
Okay.
performs.
That makes sense. It's like what we tell writers all the time. Don't
Yes.
chase the trends.
Yes.
Write,
Wait,
make the
what?
good content.
That's
So
Yeah.
exactly
exactly
it.
Way to go.
the same thing. Yeah.
Yes.
Stuff to
Authenticity.
think about.
Yes. Authenticity is like my number one social media word.
That's great. So let's say that we are going to have a book launch. Do you have a general kind of what that should look like, what our socials should look like leading up to a book launch?
Yes. So, whatever your frequency was, you're going to up it. I want to see twice as much.
Wow. Okay.
2 times 0 is still 0.
And something I
Yep.
remind people because they think, oh no, I'm going to overwhelm people. It's going to be too much. Is that no one
Mhm.
is going to see everything you post, not even your mom.
True.
So think of it more as a service and less of, oh, I'm bothering people. And I think that mind shift switch will help you be like, okay, I'm gonna promote, because you're just trying to help people remember that they do want to buy this book, because that's why they're following you, right? They want to support you. They want to know what's going on with you. Create or think about what moments there are leading up to your launch and how you can create content around those moments. Quote reveals. You can build those in.
Right.
That's a great piece of content. Um, if you get arcs, seeing those for the first time, maybe it's a
Mhm.
dedication reveal. Everybody loves the video where you're opening your box of finished copies at the first time.
Mhm.
Any of those moments, getting blurbs from other authors, those are like free pieces of content. So build those into your strategy and then remind people to pre order. People hate to do it, but people do need to be reminded, right? Because think about how many
Yeah.
times you
Yeah.
see an author that you love say, I have a new book coming out, and you're like, yeah, great. Oh, yeah, I remember. And then it's what, the seventh time that you're finally like, oh, yes, I need to go buy it.
Right. Yeah.
So don't feel like you're bothering people. Just think of how can you remind people that this book is coming. And same if you have any sort of events, that's a great moment to
Mhm.
remind people. Or if you're offering signed copies from like a local indie, that's a great
Mhm.
different way to remind people to pre-order. So think about all of the different moments you can come up with, and those are going to be the pieces of content that you're going to build in as you get closer and closer to your on sale day.
Great. That's great.
So you're talking about the social media promoting. How do you keep that momentum going when the book's been out for a little while? I just launched a book in February. So now here I am at the end of March and I'm like, okay, I need to keep going. What do I do in April?
Whew. Yes, that can be the tricky part when you're in that sort of in between time. If you're like, okay, it's there.
Yeah.
Maybe you're not like building the next thing yet. You're like, what content do I produce? And I think that can be a fun time if you're getting any sort of feedback from fans or people or friends to amplify that. If you get tagged in a positive review, you can share that. Or if you see a fun quote from someone or fan art, if you're so lucky, those are really fun ways to amplify the content. And then remember too that not everyone will have bought the book yet. Or maybe a lot of
Mhm.
people bought the book, but they haven't read it yet. It's on the never ending TBR. So you can keep sharing like bits and pieces of info, little fun ways to tease, try different ways of pitching the book, see what kind of resonates, sticks with readers. And
Mhm.
so I think about that sort of after pub time as like playtime, where you can
Okay.
try out different things and see what resonates with people and then do more of that.
So I should go into play mode now. Okay,
Yes.
I'll try
Yeah.
that. I'll see.
Yeah.
So
And it seems like you
that's
could
much more
maybe do
fun.
searches. Could you do searches for your book or something like that on social media and then find people who have said something about it and then repost that stuff? Is that just as good or is that not as good?
Yes. Okay, so if you're brave and you have a strong heart, I think it's worth it to search for your book and see what people are saying. Don't go on Goodreads. It's a dark place for
Yes,
authors.
I know.
If you have a friend who can pull some Goodreads reviews, sure,
Without looking. Yeah.
but it's not worth it. But yeah, absolutely. You can go see if people have maybe, like on Instagram, see if someone has created
Hmm.
a post about the book. And then I would share that to your stories. And if it's like a positive thing, you can always comment on the post as well. Thank you so much for reading. Thank you for sharing. And then absolutely worth amplifying, sharing to your Instagram stories, because that's just a really positive reinforcement for your fans and for yourself too. But of course, do not engage with the negative. It's not
Yeah.
worth it. It's just scroll on past.
Yes. That
Yes.
that that is good. That's good advice. I thoroughly agree. As an author who's written a lot of books, that yeah, you learn that really early on. Just don't read them.
Yes.
Never goes anywhere good.
No.
You can't fix it, and somebody may have just had a bad day.
Yes.
Anyway,
Yeah.
so that is one mistake authors make in is looking things. What are some other mistakes that they might be making in their social media?
I would say try and stay positive online, right? It doesn't
Hmm.
need to be like toxic positivity or like a false. You can be honest and say, oh, it's really hard to write this, or
Yeah.
this one was really difficult, or we can be honest, but I think no reader wants to hear an author complain all day or just hear the negative. So I think just keep it positive, amplify the good stuff, be supportive, and that's going to be the community and vibe you cultivate. And hopefully that's what you get back then.
I love that. So, a quick tip like, what is one thing that an author could do today to improve their social media presence?
Check your links. So, this is like hot tip. Is a link to buy your latest book in your bio? Is it in your bio on Instagram, on Facebook? Is it readily available on your website? I want it to be like 2 clicks away, right? Because if I'm a reader and I have to go more than 3 clicks, I get bored and I'm out of here. So make it as easy as possible for people to find your book and then find a buy button. And even if it's just they find a link to go save it on Goodreads or put it in their Amazon cart or take a screenshot of it. But if you can make sure a link is available. And from the publishing's perspective, we love if you can direct to a page that has all your links available. So if you have a place on your
Right.
website that has links from like Amazon, BNN, BAM, all the indies, so you're supporting
Yeah.
multiple retailers, we love that. So that way people, it's really easy to be like, oh, this is my preferred retailer, done.
Yeah. Oh my, I have so much homework from you now. I'm going to be so busy this evening and maybe for the next week. But these are the tips are really so good. They really are.
You never know what is going to go viral. Like,
Yeah.
I have a few authors that have had posts go viral, and it was like, I never would have thought that's the post that would have gone
Yes.
viral. So I wouldn't have planned it, or they wouldn't have planned it.
Yes. And we always joked when I worked in social media that the post you put the least effort into and you care the least about is the one that is just going to take off. And the post that you spent weeks creating and it is a crafted, beautiful, perfect piece of content is going to go nowhere. And There's just no determining, there's no predicting it. And that's why sometimes you just have to keep trying. Even for the experts, we can't predict
Right.
it. You just have to keep trying and see what works for you.
I think
Yeah.
that's good advice. I think that's the one thing that I probably need to do, and I will take away from this is to just not be afraid to try things,
Yeah.
experiment, and play. And so I appreciate that. I appreciate learning that because I think that's going to help me not take it as seriously as I feel like
Right.
each post is going to have to
Yes.
take my heart
Right.
out.
No, that's such a good takeaway. Yes, I love that. Because that's my whole thing, that social media doesn't have to be terrible. That's my whole goal. If you can find ways to make it fun and take a little
Mhm.
of the pressure off and be like, oh, you know what, I'm going to try this today. And if it doesn't work, move on. Try something else.
Yeah.
That's really helpful. I really appreciate it.
It
I hope,
is. Yeah.
I think our listeners will appreciate that too. Those of us who are not social media divas at this point in time, at least we can experiment and there's still hope for us out there. So
Yeah.
thank you, Emily,
Yes.
so much. I
And
really
please
appreciate it.
know that the divas, we fail too. Yep. You just never know.
I don't believe that, but I'll try and trust you on it.
Thank you so much for being with us today, Emily.
Thank you for having me. This was so much fun.
Thank you for joining us on this episode of Wayward Writers.
Let's connect. Find us at waywardwriters.com, X, Instagram, YouTube, and Facebook.
See you next time. Conquer your path.